everyone. It's quite windy today and my tripod stand is moving because of the wind. But today what I'm going to do is I am going to finish the border of the sleeve, and also so since my tripod was just going to fall and the only device that I have to record the videos was going to break, so I'm going to hold this and talk to you. So my plan for today is I want to finish the border for the sleeve, and also I want to make loops on the second side of the sleeve, and I will start the sleeve, and most likely I'm going to record how about the stitch, I mean how the stitch is made. So that I'm going to do today. And I have other plans for this top. I don't want to just crochet on the sleeves and leave it like that. I want to insert a lace piece over here, somewhere over here, and see how that goes. So there'll be definitely a learning curve for that because I don't know how to do it. So I'm going to practice that maybe tomorrow. Look at this border. I'm really loving this. Do you see the XXX? It's such a beautiful tree, isn't it?
These are the things which grow from the tree.
Right. So I've completed the whole sleeve including the border, and this is how the border looks. So I've tried to make some X's, and I didn't make any peacocks. I was, you know what is going to happen when a person wears this? This border is going to stand out. It's gonna puff out a little bit. So it's gonna look good. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Now I'm going to start making loops on the other side of the sleeve. And I am very glad that I'm still left with this much amount of yarn. You can see I cannot still see the inner side, so there are still a lot of thread that is left in this, which is good. So I'm hoping that I will use this up and maybe just a little bit of the other skein, so that should be good. And I'm again using this needle to make the loops, and this is how I'm threading. I've just entered it into the one side, and I'm pulling enough so that it makes one whole circle around the sleeve, and I'm going to cut off one end. And if you see this, I'm going to tie one end and the other end will be loose. So I'm going to put a knot here. This is how I put a knot. Now this is the sleeve. This is the end where I have to make the loops. So I'm going to just open it up, and I'm going to insert my needle into it a couple of times. And when I'm doing this, I'm ensuring that it doesn't show up from the other side. So I'm just doing in this puffy area. And I'm not going to pull very tight because I'm going to use these chains, these loops as chains for making my crochet. So I'm going to do it very quickly. This happens very quickly. I used to use another method earlier of making loops on the fabric, but instead of that I have discovered this method, which is much easier and faster. So this is how it comes. So after completing one whole row, I will do again same kind of stitch, but just to cover up the gaps. So now that I've completed one row and now I've also started working on the second row, what I'm going to do is I will stitch it in such a way that even these gaps will have a stitch. So I'm going to do it this way. So I have a stitch everywhere and I'm going to use these stitches as chains when I'm doing my crochet. Now I'm going to show you how to make this stitch. So this is the shoulder and somewhere around here is the armhole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here, which is approximately, this whole thing is straight, and from here it is the armhole is bending. So I'll start from here. For row 1, I'll do chain 2 for height, then chain 4. Now I'll skip 4 stitches. In the 5th stitch, I'm going to slip this stitch. Now turn my work and I will do chain 2 and I will do 4 double crochets in the next 4 stitches. So I have a total of 5 double crochets including the chain 2. Now chain 2, turn your work back. In these next 4 stitches, make 4 double crochets. So this is going to give a shape of a rhombus. Now for making the next rhombus, make chain 4, skip 4 stitches. In the 5th stitch, slip this stitch. So this chain 4 is the base for making this rhombus. So after I make that, I'm going to turn my work. This time, instead of making all double crochets, I'm going to make chain 3, skip 1. In the next stitch, which is the 2nd stitch, I'm going to do a double crochet, chain 1, skip the next stitch. In the 2nd stitch, I will do another double crochet. Chain 3. Now turn your work again in the same direction. Skip this stitch. Over this double crochet, make another double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and over this chain of 2, make 1 double crochet. So one of the rhombuses will be like this with some gaps, and the other rhombus will be a full rhombus. So this is what I'm going to continue doing in this row. Again, I will make a chain of 4 and then skip 4, and in the 5th stitch I will slip this, and this time I'm going to make a rhombus like this. So for making that rhombus, I need to make chain 2, turn my work and make 4 more double crochets in each of the coming chains. Chain 2, turn your work back in the same direction, and over these 4 double crochets make another 4 double crochets. Now chain 4 for moving on to the next rhombus. Skip 4, in the 5th stitch, slip it, and this time make a rhombus like this. So this row has to be alternative rhombuses. So one rhombus will be like this, the other one will be like this. Again this type, then this type. Another thing that I am doing here, just to maintain this thing flat, what I am trying to do is this gap should not be too much. So what I'm doing is, sometimes like for these two rhombuses, I skipped 4 stitches in between. But here I'm going to skip 5 stitches and I'm going to slip in the 6th stitch. That way my work will be more flatter than, puffing out. So I am just going to slip in the 6th stitch. I've completed one whole row and I've reached almost the same point as I started. Now here, I skipped around 5 stitches every time instead of 4 stitches because I felt that was giving me a more flatter look. So here in the armhole area, what I did was I was doing single crochets. Initially, the first 3 rows are single crochets and then I did double crochets. So after this rhombus, instead of doing chain 4, which I do after completing the rhombus for making the base, I am just going to do chain 2 and then I'm going to skip around maybe 4 stitches. In the 5th stitch I will do single crochet and I will continue doing single crochets till I reach the last row, the first rhombus from where I started this row. So till this point I'm going to do single crochets. I've done all the single crochets. For the next row I'm going to do chain 3 for the height and then I'm going to do chain 4 and I'm going to slip this at this point, which is the top of the rhombus. Now I'm going to continue making the rhombuses again, but what I have to change here is above this full rhombus, which has all double crochets, I have to make this kind of rhombus with gaps, and above this rhombus I have to make this kind of rhombus. So since I have a full rhombus here, I'm going to do a gap rhombus, which is chain 3, skip 1. In the next chain I will do double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 and double crochet in the next chain. Now chain 3, turn my work back. Over this double crochet I'll make 1 double crochet, chain 1, skip 1 and a double crochet. So over this I'm making the gap rhombus. Now moving on to the next rhombus, again I will make chain 4 and at this point, which is the top point of the rhombus, I will slip this, turn my work, and since this is a gap rhombus, I'm going to do a full rhombus, which is chain 2 and 4 double crochets, chain 2, turn my work back and 4 double crochets. Now, so what will I do here? Here I will do gap rhombus. So for that again I have to do chain 4 and slip it at this top point, turn my work and do a gap rhombus. There is nothing much to the stitch now. It's just about how we join the ends, like how we join at this end. So I'll try to record that, how I end each row, and show it to you. This is the favorite part of my day because I just sit and watch some YouTube videos. My kids are back from school by this time. Lunch is over. I feel much more relaxed and free at this time. So I've finished the second row, and now what I'm going to do is I did chain 2, and I will just decrease the first 2 stitches of the single crochet. I have single crochet starting from here, so I'm going to decrease. So I'll pull and hold. In the second one also I'll pull and hold, and then I'll pull through. So that is one decrease. Then I'll do few more single crochets throughout, and here in the middle I'll decrease 3. I'll show that to you. So now I'm just going to do few more single crochets till I reach the center point. So this is almost the center, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull and hold, pull and hold, pull and hold 3 times and pull through. So that's 3 decrease, and I'm going to decrease 2 again at the end of this, and then I will continue with this row. So I'm left with 2 stitches, 2 single crochets. I'm going to pull and hold, and then I'm going to pull through. Now I'll do chain 2 for height, and then chain 4, and then I'm going to go to the next row. At the top of this rhombus, I'm going to slip it and then start my row, which is again the same thing which I showed you.
Let's go here. Global Taj Mahal, India. Yeah, let's go to India and then let's say.
So I'm again at the end of row 3, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. So this was the last rhombus. So I'm going to do chain 2, and I will reach out to the first 2 single crochets, pull through and hold, pull through and hold. So I'm repeating the same thing actually what I did in previous row, and then I'm going to single crochet throughout until I reach this place where I did a decrease of 3, and here I'm going to again decrease 3. So 1, 2, this is that stitch where there was a decrease in previous row, and 3 and decrease. Now I'll do single crochet till here, and I will decrease 2 here. So for the last 2 stitches I will decrease and then chain 2 for the height and chain 4 for continuing and making the next rhombus. And to end the 4th row, instead of doing single crochets, now I will do double crochets. So first I'll make a chain of 2, and I will decrease the first 2 stitches using double crochet. So I'll pull and hold like that. I will then pull through. Then I will do double crochets throughout until here where I have to reduce. Here where I have to reduce, I will just pull through and hold 3 stitches and then pull through. I'll do the same thing here. I'll reduce the last 2 stitches and do double crochets here. So if you see this side of the sleeve, what I did was I first did 3 rows of single crochets, then I did double crochets and reduced at 3 places, and then I continued doing double crochets. So I did 1, 2 and 3 more rows of double crochets. So 3 rows of single crochets and 3 rows of double crochets. Even though I had many stitches here in the last but one row, I reduced all of them in the last row. So in the 6th row, I will have all of them gone. Just left with few more rows.